Wondering what's going on?
I'm in a Coen brothers film.
Everybody's fans of them since Blood Simple. They're master filmmakers, and when they call, anyone in their right mind that's not a complete moron says yes.
Long call, short?
It's a really easy and short phone call. Will you? And yes.
How long was that?
When I first got the call, I was just thrilled beyond my wildest dreams.
I like your pictures. They're just the craziest things.
I've always had a dream that I might be invited to be in a Coen brothers film.
And action!
I was delighted when they asked me to play a rather fastidious British film director from the 1950s.
Would that it were so simple.
Would that it was so simple.
What are you doing this with?
Would that it was so simple.
Just keep still.
I love their writing. I'm a massive fan, but we're friends. So, like, why do you want to use me? You're gonna do it because you're an actor and that's what you do. Are you gonna get abusive with me again? I struck a movie star in anger. 5 Hail Marys. Okay.
They've been talking about this idea for like 10 years, probably. They told the story to George, and at some point in press conferences at premieres and film festivals, George started announcing this as one of his upcoming projects, just to sort of mess with him, I think.
Or I think it even got on IMDb, and they'd never written a script for it. And finally, they said that they'd just gotten so much grief from everybody about when are they doing Hail Caesar that they finally wrote the screenplay.
Hello, Bert.
Hello, Mr. Maddox. I didn't even need to read it, you know, it was just, yeah, what do you want me to do? Where do you want me to show up? Is it waiter number 2, waiter number 3? I don't care.
There's a great intelligence about their scripts and their characters.
Hobie Doyle cannot act.
Unpredictable evolvement of character and plot.
Well, if he needs help, it's your job to help him.
It's their own individual, unique thing that they have.
Joel and Ethan, they don't just write words, they seem to write speed as well. When you read it, you hear it going at a certain lick.
20 million readers want the truth, Eddie.
Truth, yes.
You just get the feeling that they're really making movies that they really enjoy. And that's special.
There's a sort of underlying humorous delight in the comedy of humankind.
They have a very deep appreciation for the craft of filmmaking.
An army of technicians and actors and top-notch artistic people are working hard to bring to the screen our biggest release of the year.
They're poking fun at themselves and the movie industry and the history of it and honoring it.
Is it hard squeezing it like that?
It's part of the job, miss.
They kind of let you play on set. They know what they want, but they're open to suggestions. It feels kind of safe and fun. That's true.
My whole goal is to make Joel and Ethan tell me to pull off, and they haven't really told me to pull off yet. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do something crazy, and they were giggling, so I don't stop if they're laughing. I just keep the pedal to the floor.
The fact that I get to be on set watching them and how they make a film is just unbelievable.
They shoot literally only the shots that they're ever going to use. And they'll go, we'll only use it from here to here, so we'll just shoot that part. They've already edited the film in their heads. And it's panned out for them because they make really wonderful films.
Yeah. Well, I like to think we've changed a few minds.
You know, the Coen brothers have their own brand, their own taste of wine. Some people have tried to do what they do, and they can't.
This is bad for movie stars everywhere.
These guys still make unbelievably great films. They will go down in the history books as the greats of filmmakers.
A truth we could see if we had, but if we had faith. Cut!
Son of a bitch.
Well, the movie is about movie stars.
It's an old-school look at the loony bin of the movie industry.
The human vulnerabilities are very exposed and magnified within the movie world.
We have movie stars who are playing movie stars, and so they sort of bring their own movie star luminosity to the part of portraying and inhabiting the movie star.
Thoreau!
Who do we call first?
New York first. Time to check in with Mr. Skank.
Eddie Mannix, played by Josh Brolin, handles all the micro details of the actors' lives and make sure that they conduct themselves in a way that would be appropriate for their position and for their fans.
Yeah, having a child without a father would present a public relations problem for the studio. The aquatic pictures do very nicely for us.
So you go and strap on a fish ass and marry Arnie Seslem.
He creates safety in the bubble. That's the paternal side. Somebody who knows when to be stern. Now you listen to me, Buster. Nick Skank in the studio have been good to you and to everyone else who works here. If I ever hear you bad-mouthing Mr. Skank again, then it'll be the last thing you say before I have you tossed in jail for colluding in your own abduction.
I wouldn't. Oh, no.
Shut up. Yet he relays the fact that he cares about you, that he's gonna be here for you. You're gonna go out there and you're gonna finish Hail Caesar. You're gonna do it because you're an actor and that's what you do. Just like the director does what he does and the writer and the script girl and the guy who claps his sleigh. You're gonna do it because this picture has worth and you have worth if you serve the picture and you're never gonna forget that again.
Eddie Mannix, and for that matter, Thor and Cecily Thacker, they're like shepherds trying to wrangle the myth into a myth shape and trying to kind of lop off the bits that are a bit too much like normal life or human behavior and trying to wrangle it into our dreams.
People don't want the facts, they want to believe.
Probably the role of fixer shifts into PR representative or agent or manager. Their relationship with their client depends on their client being able to turn up for work.
Door swings open. Left. Yes, sir.
Yes. In 51, you could get away with literal murder. Like, actual murder. Like, you could just be like, Eddie, I messed up, man. He's like, just don't touch anything, I'm on my way. And it would go away. And that is a scary thought.
Don't play dumb, Eddie. I'm talking about on wings as eagles.
What?
Thora and Thessaly are identical twins.
What kind of name is Thora, anyway?
It's a name that 19 million readers trust. They want the truth, Eddie.
A mole here, a mole there, pretty much peas in a pod. Progressively bigger hats, depending on what order they're coming in the scene. They're cultural commentators. Well now, this is interesting. I didn't know you two were friends.
Well, yes, we're friends.
Well, we're fixing to be friendly, tell you that.
That's good. Fixin' to be friendly. That can be my column headline. It was Luella and Hedda that inspired Ethan and Joel. Not just what they did, but the fact that there were two of them and the fact that they were set up as empresses opposite each other.
Yeah.
Just coming to see you. Baird Whitlock, your biggest star, got his first major part by engaging in sodomy with the picture's director, Lawrence Lawrence. This will be the story of the year.
Dirt is good for them. They want the dirt because they want to have something to print. At the same time, they need that guy or that girl to be a god or a goddess in order to be toppled. Because if they're just Schlo Joe, then so what? It doesn't really matter.
Tonight I bathe in Caracalla and wash away the dust of 300 miles of Frankish road. To Rome. To Rome!
The character that I play is just a clueless movie star, which, I don't know, could never happen. Here's the thing. With Joel and Ethan, this is the fourth film I've done. When I finished Burn After Reading with them, we said that I'd completed my trilogy of idiots.
Whoa. Oh, joy.
Then they brought me back for this one, which is I may be the dumbest I've ever been in it.
We're not even talking about money. We're talking about economics.
Good. Sure. So, now, do I get a share of the ransom?
No, Mr. Whitlock.
The Coen brothers have made several films in this film. There's an amazing cowboy film. There's an amazing mermaid, Esther Williams, synchronized swimming film. And then there's Merrily We Dance.
It is kind of this trip through all these different old Hollywood genres.
It's complicated.
It is a dream factory, and that's not an easy thing to finesse, to make a dream world, because this is a dream world made by humans, and they tend to be not so dreamy sometimes.
Background action.
Gas again, ma'am?
Ma'am, miss, do I look married?
No, miss.
No.
The starry-eyed, like, good girl is maybe not such a good girl in the real world.
Are you sure he's the father?
Yeah, absolutely he's the father, yes. Pretty sure.
And Bert Gurney, the song and dance man, is maybe not what he seems like on the surface.
I think back then the public wanted to believe that the movie stars that they were seeing up there on the screen were, in fact, as otherworldly and ideal as they were being projected.
Hey, Maxie, bring me my S back.
Deanna is kind of an Esther Williams type of movie star. She's probably like a lot of movie stars in, now and forever, discovered or plucked from anywhere, nowhere, probably Red Hook or something like that.
Bert Gurney and his hair. His hair should get a credit, by the way, on all his posters. He is a song and dance man in a Gene Kelly-esque way.
3, 2, 1, go.
I think he has done other things, probably a Western here and there, but I think this is where his bread and butter is. I don't actually think Bert Gurney even knows what communism is. I think if they were to ask him, he would tell you about the outfits. I think he's kind of a moron in that way.
Hobie Doyle is a 1950s singing cowboy who is employed at the studio.
I can do the handstand smoother if you give me another shot at it.
I'd done a Southern accent in a movie before, but with this, it was so much easier because the Coens write in the accent, basically.
How you get into pictures, Hobie?
I wrangled for a while, and then they saw I could say a line or two, and I was Bad Clem or Deputy Number 2 or Guy's Buddy for a couple of years, and then someone heard me sing, and they made me the guy.
They spell words the way that you're supposed to say them.
Any more thoughts about who you might marry?
I ain't doing that again. I had 2 marriages. It just cost the studio a lot of money to bust them up.
Told myself I wasn't gonna badmouth the competition, and look at me.
They'd written in all those inflections and all the pronunciations.
Would that it was the same.
My dear boy, why do you say that? Why do you say twir?
And they have such an ear for that kind of detail in the way people talk. If you just read it as it was written, you'd be in the ballpark of where you were supposed to be anyway.
Usually on a picture, I'll just say, "Whitey," or "Whoa there," but this in here, it's talking. And it's people listening. That threw me a little at first, but I think I got my leg up on her now.
There was love interest in the movies, but they almost never kissed because the little boys in the audience would hate that. So he's used to doing these kind of movies.
Early we dance, 27 Apple, take 1.
He's now in a sort of drawing room drama with a hint of adultery going on.
Here is our set.
People in tuxes and ball gowns and slightly campy pink set.
Action.
Oh, Monty. Come, join me on the divan.
It's not his world at all. He's completely miscast.
She's gonna importune Mr. Lawrence. Is that something I should be
No,
concerned
she'll
about?
simply ask you to join her on the couch, is all I mean to say, and then conversation ensues.
Lawrence Lawrence is, I think he's British. We're not really sure if he's British or not.
You don't have to watch many Hollywood films from that period to hear this American voices, but all trying to sound like they're from England. And there's this slight apology always in it. Got to be very, very fast so that somebody doesn't work out that you're actually from Kentucky.
Okay, very good, very good. Let's try one, shall we?
Sure, I'll give her a go.
Wonderful, splendid.
This character is very amusingly written, and I think one can identify bits of British actors / directors from the past, whether it's a combination of David Lean, Noel Coward, Laurence Olivier.
Would that it was
Would that it were so simple?
Would that it was so
Would that it were so simple?
Would that it was. Would that it were.
No, you're going twir again.
Would that it was. Gosh, I can't seem to cinch my saddle up on this one, Larry.
Larry, good God, Christian names, yes, but not Larry.
The mechanics have shifted, but the emphasis, the underlying politics.
Hobie Doyle cannot act.
We're not recasting. This came from Mr. Skank himself. It's Hobie Doyle. Is the boy game?
No, he's game, and gamey.
You're in, you're out, you're hot, you're not.
People were more vulnerable, I think. People were very often much younger, maybe less educated, less media savvy.
Can't you all take a few pictures, have a few laughs? Jeez, Eddie, what are you stick in the mud?
Well, the business has changed considerably because it doesn't have the star system anymore. But it's still crane with a camera and a director standing next to you. That part of filmmaking has changed very little.
I'm not sure I follow, Padre.
Young man, you don't follow for a very simple reason. These men are screwballs.
I'm a big fan of this period of classic Hollywood, the 40s and 50s. You know, one of the reasons it's so much fun for our production designer and Mary, our costume designer, is because of the variety of different things.
Apple, pick one. The luxury of shooting a movie about making movies in the old contract days in Hollywood is amazing because it's a museum out here.
I've never had so many look boards and sketches and ideas, so it was a big undertaking.
Shooting in this sort of golden era of Hollywood is always an appealing thing for every actor, I think, because the costumes and the glamour of it and the behind-the-scenes quality is just a fun environment to live in.
Sky's the limit. Sky is the limit. Dream as big as you can and let's see what we can do.
I think this movie is specifically like Joel and Ethan's dream walk through a movie studio lot in '51. It's insane.
Here at Capitol Pictures, as you know, an army of technicians and actors and top-notch artistic people are working hard to bring to the screen our biggest release of the year. Now, Hail Caesar is a prestige picture, and we're devoting huge resources to its production in order to make it first class in every respect.
It is the Ben-Hur of our movie. We have wonderful sculptors carving massive pieces of things. We built a big, beautiful entryway and just did some really broad strokes there, and I think it's going to go a long way.
They're using backdrops that were actually used in Ben-Hur, real backdrops. So it's fun to see the process being done like it was done originally.
George has been so game. He's basically worn a dress the whole movie. And I was like, can we show your knees? He was like, yeah, and he does. He has great legs. Who knew?
Oh, Lord. Seeing George in the skirt was appropriate. Oh, it was great. It was great.
The first time you put it on, and you put these really attractive sandals on, when you go home and you have these marks on your legs and try to explain that to your wife, that's an adventure right there.
For the Westerns, we basically had to create this stunt tree where Hobie could do a handstand and spin around that tree. So we had to fit it into the environment. It's a metal tree with plaster. None of that tree is real at all.
In my experience of doing Westerns, you have to find the hat and then you can find everything else. But in Alden's case, the first hat that we tried on him was like, that's the hat. Just like that.
Hobie, the studio says you're finished here and you're to report back to the lot.
How come?
They're changing your image.
Okay.
Merrily We Dance is melodrama, and it's big, kind of fabulous, overscale scenery and people in tuxedos.
Looking at what was going on back then, the set was twice as tall as we would sort of build anything today.
Merrily We Dance, 27 Apple, take one.
Alden comes walking through those doors are, 15 feet tall, and it's just absurd.
And action.
It's been really beautifully recreated, the atmosphere, and to see all the crew from our film within a film makes one slightly nostalgic.
When I was talking to Joel and Ethan, we were like, how intense do we want to get? And everyone was like, let's go for it.
There are 150 extras out there, all looking sensational. They all look like movie stars. And with this team, they know how to make you look the part. And yeah, it's really easy with people like this. Dressing you up.
I love dressing Tilda. She wears clothes like nobody else. I mean, she has 5 changes, but the changes were based on the hats. Like each change was like, and here she is, It was fun.
Say, what kind of name is Thessaly anyway?
It's a name that 20 million readers trust.
We built a 90-foot piece of a submarine and put it on the side of the tank. And it's just about the mood and the contrast and the water and the boat in there with the relationship to the sub and Roger's amazing lighting. It was just mind-blowing. And then we're turning it over for a much more colorful Esther Williams, Busby Berkeley type of thing.
Oftentimes you see a mermaid and she's like got long hair and like nothing on top or little cups here, and then from the waist down is where you put the mermaid. But I felt it would be more period correct to put her in a whole piece. We started out with a base fabric that was sequined, but we had to bead onto it and bead all those scales. It turned out great. And Scarlett, I thought, rocked it, man.
Mary Zofries has this incredible imagination, and she's also very sensitive to the body and what's comfortable for an actor and what you're going to be able to move in. And of course, this case, my costume was extremely restrictive. She's just wonderful. She really creates a whole world.
Damn it! Making a movie about making movies, it's really special. It's such a variety of things that we're doing it that it keeps every day exciting.
This is costume designer's dream. It's definitely, hands down, the most fun I've ever had.
We get to understand how they did it back then. It's extraordinary.
These special features are such a big thing now because you get a little hint of what it's like behind the scenes or this or that. Everybody loves to watch the special features. This is an entire movie about special features.
They don't make them like this anymore, that's for sure.
Holding for dissolve. Still laughing. Holding. Cut.
If you look at Hollywood 64 years ago, it was very different than the industry today.
Getting to have a window into the behind the scenes of how some of these big, massive, epic, sort of historical scenes were done, it's extraordinary. I mean, it's really, 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 really special.
You're one of the Hollywood people.
Maybe.
Crazy musicals and swimming spectaculars and things that like nobody does anymore.
It's such a love letter, I think, just to the whole industry, and it's paying homage to those big classic movie musicals.
You've got Channing Tatum doing this fantastic dance number in sailor outfits, and there's this incredible sequence with Scarlett Johansson and all these synchronized swimmers that's like Esther Williams' musical number.
I did study the Gene Kellys of the world and Fred Astaire's. I've probably seen almost every single YouTube tap thing.
He's so talented, and he is picking it up so fast and working incredibly hard, and he's dancing with some of the best tappers I know.
I in no way, shape, or form knew how hard it was going to be. I just figured that I could learn the tap movement and it would make the sound. But what I found is that you really need to be musical.
Tapping is playing the drums with your feet. I mean, you're a percussionist, really. You're a musician.
I don't even think they should call it tap dancing. They should just call it like foot percussion or something. Because you are dancing, but really you're playing a part of the song.
He's dancing on tables, he's dancing on bars, he's dancing on stools, he's hanging from fixed objects on the ceiling. I mean, he's like Donald O'Connor, Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, kind of all smashed into one number. And then we flood the bar with like 15 to 20 more by the end of the number, and they're swing dancing and doing lifts and everything. Not only are we doing a classic number, we get to show how these classic numbers were made in one fell swoop. There's a moment where you're gonna see a camera shooting the guys close, then we cut and you'll see the camera moving back and the set moving together as the camera backs out.
I got a lot of friends in the real dance world and they all love tap dancing, but there just isn't any jobs for tap dancing.
It's a dream come true. It truly is like the dream job for kind of everything that I trained to do. I get to do what I grew up watching and falling in love with. Like, this is why I dance, is watching Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire and all of those big classic movies, and to get to recreate something like that or pay homage to something like that in a movie and pulling out the stops that we're pulling out is just, I couldn't ask for anything better, really.
You out!
The one
something we've certainly never done is the synchronized swimming.
I'd never seen an Esther Williams movie, but they're so much fun to watch.
Synchronized swimming has come a long way since Esther Williams' time. This was a really interesting project for us because they wanted a synchronized swimming show that took place entirely on the surface of the water, a lot like the old movies. 32 performers swimming in a way that was very lyrical, patterns changing, almost creating an optical illusion with 32 beautiful synchronized swimmers. The Aqualilies are framing Scarlett Johansson, who comes into the center of the circle where we're doing the water ballet on a tulip, and then dives into the center of the Aqualilies.
I had to swim with my fin on, which I learned to do in a really grimy pool in Midtown Manhattan, and was trained by Head Aqualily, which is our synchronized swimming group.
It was a really exciting thing for me as a choreographer to design. I spent a considerable amount of time looking back at those very first aquatic spectacles. They have that reverse shot where they're shooting it backwards, so Scarlett's actually dry, and then she goes under the water, and then they'll flip that in post so that it looks like she's coming out of the water. That's definitely something that Esther Williams did first.
It's fun. It's fun. It was really magical doing the underwater stuff, actually. I think it like reawakened the little girl in me. It was very exciting.
This is the exact stage that Esther Williams shot her movies in. It's stage 30. They researched very thoroughly how this exact stage was used when Esther Williams did her movies here. So they knew the best height to take the camera away from the surface of the water, and all of those things played into, for us as the designers of the water ballet, being able to swim, not in the exact same water necessarily, but in the same pool where she swam and where those movies were made, for us is a very special experience.
I think the swimmers had fun. You know, all those girls have been competing in synchronized swimming for, you know, years and years, and they've, you know, grown up, you know, watching those movies, and so to be able to participate in a big sort of spectacular number like that, I'm sure was a big kick for them. You're playing with the idea of true authenticity versus what you remember nostalgically as the sort of, you know, what you think it is. And what you think it is almost is sometimes as important as what it really was.
The process has also been fun. It's been a lot of hard work and a lot of really thorough planning, but it's also been a great experience.
It's just been nothing but fun, and I'm hoping it's like everything that everyone has fallen in love with.
Good stuff.
Go out there and be a star.